Well, hello there. Welcome to Watcha Reading. I'm Keenan, and I'll be your host. I have a letter today from a boy named Alex who lives in Boston, Massachusetts. Let's see what he's reading. Dear Keenan, I've been watching the hit television show Dawson's Creek for a few weeks now. I recently read the book, I Remember Everything, Life Lessons from Dawson's Creek by Erin, Hensley, and Julia Callahan. This book talks about the important themes from the show and lessons we can carry into life. Can you talk a little bit about the show and what we can learn from it? Do you have a fan from the show from the 90s you can bring on? Sincerely, Alex. Thanks so much for writing me, Alex. Dawson's Creek is a special show to me, like it is for many people. The show highlights what it means to be a teenager and the challenges we face. The themes that the show touches base on encourage me to be the best person I can be. Sometimes in life we find encouragement from things that we never expected it would come from. It was filmed in my home state of North Carolina, which makes it even more special for me. I think I know just the person to bring on to talk about the book and the show. We'll be back. Welcome back. Today we have Joy Breeden, who is a beloved Dawson's Creek fan and grew up in the 90s. She is joining us to talk about her love for the show and what she learned from it. Hi Joy, how are you today?
Hi Keenan, I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Doing great. So today our book is a graphic novel about Dawson's Creek. And I thought you would be perfect for this since you grew up in the 90s.
Absolutely.
And you're a big fan of the show, right?
I'm a huge fan of the show, yes, huge.
So, at what point in your life did you begin watching the show?
Sure. I started watching it probably the first episode that came on air in 1998. It was January. I would have been a sophomore in high school and months away from about being 16 years old. So I was roughly the same age as the people in the show.
Wow. And would you say the show had any kind of impact on you?
I don't know if I'd say it had a huge impact. Maybe it definitely was part of my life. I will say, like, the first couple of years I watched it at home when I was in high school, and then when I went away to college, it was around the same time Joey was going away to college, and so like I looped my roommate into it, who was not a Dawson's Creek fan by any means, and really got her into it. So it kind of became a thing. You know, Wednesday night, 8 o'clock, everybody came into our room in Nixon Hall, and we watched Dawson's for Dawson's night. So it brought us all together.
I missed out on so much, right?
You did.
So, if you had to say that you had a favorite character in the show, who would be your favorite character, and why would that be your favorite character?
Yeah. I'm going to go with Joey Potter. Josephine is my favorite. Joey, you start the show off with Joey. She's the first character you see with Dawson. And I think you're just rooting at least I was just rooting for her from the very start of it. Yeah, she's definitely my favorite.
My favorite character is Andy from the show.
Also a great character.
I like her a lot because I think she's very brilliant in so many ways, and she's just like got this sweetheart persona, and I love that about the character. And she's just like, she's always there for her friends, and I'm like, I like this character a lot.
Yeah.
And I like her brother too, Jack. I think he's great too.
He's an awesome character, yeah.
But I kind of like Dawson, I kind of like Pace, and I kind of like all of them. So I don't think there's a character I don't like.
True, yeah. Except for maybe Abby Morgan.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And Drew Valentine. No. I don't like them. No, but are you Team Dawson or Team Pacey?
Team Pacey all the way.
Team Pacey.
16-year-old Joy would have said that maybe I probably would have been Team Dawson because he was the star of the show, or supposedly, right? And it was all supposed to be centered around his life. And I think, you know, they tell you from the very start that he's the one, and you're kind of rooting for him. But 43-year-old Joy feels very differently rewatching the show and realizing that I don't care for Dawson as a character very much, and I'm 100% Team Pacey.
Well, see, I like both of them, but I like Dawson because, you know, he's the filmmaker, and, you know, he's got this brilliant writing mind, and he has big dreams, and I like to see a character that has big dreams because I think we can relate to characters a lot, especially being a college student, and you know, going back to high school as well. you really want to connect to a character that has big dreams because it gives you hope for that.
Sure.
And but I like Pacey because Pacey's kind of rough in his academic career, but he is there for his friends. You know, he really cares about people. Same thing with Andy. You know, when Andy got sick in the show and when he defended Jack for coming out, I love that about him. I just thought he was a great guy. So I would say I'm kind of in the middle somewhere.
Okay.
I don't know. I kind of like both of them, so it's kind of hard for me.
Okay.
But there's been so many great episodes that have come out with the show.
Yeah.
Would you say you have a favorite episode?
Yes, absolutely, I do. My favorite episode, it was in season 1 when Joey enters the beauty pageant. It was so good. She was so out of her comfort zone. And you see Dawson see her for the first time as a woman and not like little Joey Potter from down the creek. And so you see him seeing that for the first time, and she comes out and she sings On My Own from Les Mis. I was 16. That was all the rage. So that was a pretty great moment. I loved that, yeah.
I think my favorite episode is when they're reading The Crucible in high school and they go to like this haunted house type situation. They're like trying to get out. And I also like the episode when there's like I think it's like a serial killer's on the loose and they're all at the house on Halloween.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite episodes. Like I thought it was hilarious, and at the same time I thought, yeah, this is typical high school kids.
Yeah.
So, of course, it had an impact on a lot of people in the 90s, and kids loved it.
Sure.
Would you say it shaped your teenage years?
I think it had a pretty big impact. I mean, I was the same age as them, so I was already, 15, 16 when it started. I think it showed me a different world. It wasn't where I didn't live in Cape Side, Massachusetts. Obviously, I didn't have the same type of friend situations and whatnot. So it showed me kind of a different life, I think, at that time. Yeah.
Right, because in this story, we talk about many themes in this graphic novel, like love, queer acceptance.
Yeah.
Just the themes that every person my age should know, and even as adults.
Yeah.
And so a big part of it was talking about love and friendship. So what do you think the show can teach us about love in society today?
Yeah. That it comes in all shapes and forms and sizes. That true love does not necessarily have to be romantic love.
Doesn't have to be a boat, right?
Yes, you're right. True love does not have to be a boat. And that, this notion of soulmates doesn't necessarily need to be romantic. Right,
because, when we see Dawson and Joey, he's like, you're my soulmate, you're not my lover, you're my soulmate. And I just found that so powerful because, they grew up together, they had this friendship and connection, but it turns out they weren't meant to be lovers together.
Right.
And I thought that was beautiful. And I think this show can teach us a lot about what it means to love, and that you don't necessarily have to be in love romantically to really care for somebody. And really
I think the best love show of all on the show was Jack and Jen.
Oh, absolutely.
They're best friends, and it's a great relationship.
So we talk about love. What do you think it teaches us about mental health?
Oh, that was definitely the first time I had ever seen something on TV that was so blatant and called it out for what it was. And talked about mental health in a different light. There was one episode in particular I'm thinking about where Andy's talking to an admissions counselor, and the admissions counselor keeps bringing up Andy's mental health issues, and don't you think that's going to be a problem, and how is that going to hurt you in school? And Andy really digs your heels in and talks about how, I see that I now know how to ask for help, and I can accept that, and I know what I need to do, and really turned it around. And that was not something that was happening at that time.
Right. And I think Andy realized throughout the show that she didn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, our flaws and that's kind of what makes us who we are.
Sure.
So that's why I love the character so much. Like at the beginning, she was just like, I can't do anything. I want to be smart. I want to be top notch. But then toward the end, she's like, I really have everything. I have my friends, and I'm on the path to go to get a great education. So her mental health, yes, it stopped her at the beginning, but toward the end, she's like, I can do anything.
Right. Yeah.
And then at the same time, she had that sweetheart persona, which I loved about her.
Yes.
So Jack, her brother, it came out openly gay in the show, which was a big deal in the 90s.
Very big deal.
So what do you think this can teach us about being acceptance for the LGBTQ plus community?
Yeah, as you said, that was a big deal at that time. I think, to my recollection, the only person on TV at the time that had come out as being gay was Ellen. And this was a couple years after that, and then Jack came along, and I think that was the first time that youth saw that and saw themselves being represented in the media like that, and it was huge. It was huge, and seeing how all of his friends accepted him and stood up for him, watching his dad, who, for better or for worse, he came around in the end and accepted his son and actually said he was happy he had a gay son. So I think, it just shows us that people really can change.
Right. Because it kind of feels like he's crying for help, through a lot in the show. And when he tells his dad, this is who I am, this is where I was born, this is my way of telling you who I am. I found that so powerful. I think that was one of the most powerful scenes I thought that was in the whole show.
Yeah.
Because this character was hiding so much. And when he kind of like braked, he came out, and I thought it was amazing the way he did it. And being from North Carolina, LGBTQ plus discrimination in the South is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I think, from the 90s to now, we need to grow in acceptance and let people know that they don't have to change anything to be loved, and that being loved is valuable, and that love is the most powerful thing in the world, in my opinion. I think so. And, we can encourage children the importance of love, and even as adults, as they grow, we can talk about how important love is. So I think that's an important reminder.
Absolutely.
So my last question for you is, if someone approached you and asked you why you loved and cared so much about the show, what would you tell them, and why would you say that?
I would tell them that if they can get past all of the intense language and words that teenagers don't really use, if they can get past that part of it, that they can see that there is a lot of meaning behind it, and that it does have some powerful messages and about acceptance and love. And as long as you can get past that, it is a soap opera, essentially, and the teenagers talk in a very unreal way. But yeah, it was still a huge deal at the time, and still now. I mean, I just rewatched it, and it was just as good.
Right. And I could probably continue to watch it. Like, I still got the poster in my dorm, and I see it every day. Like, my roommate's like, oh my gosh, what's Dawson's Creek? So yeah.
Break out the DVDs.
I know, right? Go back to the 90s,
Yes.
VHS tapes.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
But yeah, it's so cool to get your perspective. So thank you so much for coming on the show and talking a little bit about the themes of the story, and how we can move forward as society and make the world a better place.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Yeah. That's all the time we have today on Watcha Reading. Thank you for joining me today. As we say goodbye, remember, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. Your words matter, your actions echo, and every small act of kindness makes a big difference. From all of us here, thank you for watching, and take care of one another. Bye now.